Main independent advisor on ministers' interests, Lord Geidt, has resigned. He also released a brief statement which mentioned, "With regret, I feel that it is right that I am resigning from my post as independent advisor on ministers' interests." Of course, this has been something that has been debated for quite some time. It did feel like it had gone away, that the Prime Minister perhaps was, if not safe, not in peril with this potential resignation. And of course, this revolves around the story as to whether the Prime Minister gave a sufficient explanation as to why he hadn't broken the Ministerial Code. And this has been going back and forth and openly discussed, and he'd then given another response to Lord Geidt as to why he felt he had not broken the Ministerial Code, or he'd given a sufficient explanation. Lord Geidt now resigning is a big, big moment. It's a big extra amount of pressure on the Prime Minister, who may well have felt that he did escape this particular threat to his future and leadership. Our political correspondent, Liz Bates, able to join me now from Westminster with reaction to this. And Liz, perhaps this was expected or a possibility a few weeks ago, but the expectation of whether this would materialise or not had gone away somewhat.
It had, and it's quite interesting that we've just heard this in the last few minutes, because we heard from Lord Geidt yesterday. He was speaking in front of a committee of MPs, and we didn't really have a hint at that point that he was thinking about stepping down, although we knew that he had been frustrated. This is really the culmination of something that came out last month, which was a sort of public standoff over Partygate. Lord Geidt is, of course, the Prime Minister's advisor on ethics, and I think he was quite frustrated with the Prime Minister over this issue of the fixed penalty notice that he had received over Partygate, and whether that equated to a breach of the Ministerial Code. This is a position that he set out in an annual report that he released, and what came across very strongly in that report was that his frustration with the Prime Minister, that as the arbiter of the Ministerial Code, he hadn't explained publicly why he thought that fixed penalty notice wasn't a breach of that. But as I said, yes, he appeared yesterday in front of a committee of MPs, and we didn't get any sense at that point that he was going to step down, even though there had been rumours circulating around that. But today, just in the last few minutes, we have had a statement from Lord Geidt. He says, "With regret, I feel that it is right that I am resigning from my post as independent advisor on ministers' interests." So clear now that after everything that's happened, he feels that his position is untenable and that he has had to stand down today. And beyond that, we don't really know yet what's gone on behind the scenes, but clearly he feels that he cannot go on in his position as the Prime Minister's advisor on ethics.
So interesting, Liz, because there's been so many moving parts, of course, to the Prime Minister's position within his own party over recent weeks. He has just survived a confidence vote. And as the rules stand today, that means he can't face another confidence vote within his own party for another 12 months. This resignation is only really something that could put pressure on him within those realms, is it not? And again, if it had come moments before the vote of confidence, maybe it would have swayed a few MPs' votes. But in the very short term, does it make an immediate impact?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I think what you've touched upon there is that has been frustration brewing for a long time, particularly over Partygate, but other issues as well within the Conservative Party. And there have been many moments where it has felt like the Prime Minister's position was becoming untenable. And Lord Geidt speaking out on this issue was one of those moments. I think I've been speaking to Conservative MPs all the time about how they feel about the Prime Minister. And as you said, one of the key points is that there cannot now be another confidence vote in him. And a lot of those MPs that are very disillusioned in the Prime Minister are feeling at the moment that like there isn't an opportunity to remove him, even though we still keep having moments like this, resignations, and clearly people losing confidence in the Prime Minister. But as I say, Conservative MPs feeling that at the moment he's untouchable, and even though things like this are happening, it's still possible for him to continue in his position.